Every time I pick up a new Nikon Z body, these are the first 5 things I change, and honestly, most people never touch them. Not because they're hidden in some underground bunker 3 menus deep, but because Nikon ships these cameras in a way that works fine on a store shelf and only starts getting weird once you actually go out and shoot real photos. And that's the key here. This is not a boring menu tour. I don't care about settings just because they exist. I care about the ones that change how the camera behaves when light drops, when your subject moves, when your eye is at the finder, and when you need the camera to stop acting like a very expensive slot machine. By the end of this video, you'll know the 5Z settings I change on every body I pick up, why they matter in the real world, and how they make the camera feel faster, smarter, and a whole lot easier to use. And honestly, this is the kind of setup thinking that I teach inside the Nikon Z Bootcamp. Not just which buttons to press, but why certain settings matter depending on what you shoot and how you shoot it. Registration is open right now, and because Bootcamp is live on Zoom with a small class size, it's a lot more interactive and a lot more useful than just throwing information at you and hoping something sticks. So if you've been wanting to really dial in your Nikon setup, now's a great time. This video is for Nikon Z shooters who want the camera working with them, not against them. And yes, some of these are beginner friendly, but a couple of them are kind of setup choices that separate I own this camera from this camera is truly dialed in. I've done this across enough Nikon Z bodies to know the pattern. Different models have different button layouts, a few menu names moved around. Nikon occasionally decides chaos is a feature, but the behavior I want is basically the same every time. I want cleaner auto ISO behavior, autofocus that matches the subject instead of my mood swings, and a quick menu that actually helps, and playback that tells me the truth instead of just flattering me. So here's the flow. First, I'm fixing auto ISO because most people set it halfway and then blame the camera. After that, AF area modes, because this is where Nikon Z bodies can be brilliant or mildly possessed, depending on how you use them. Then I'll show you why customizing the eye menu is one of the biggest quality of life wins on the camera. And finally, I'm changing playback and review settings so that I can actually judge exposure in the field instead of discovering my highlights are cooked when I get home and open Lightroom like it's a horror movie. The first setting I change is Auto ISO, and this one matters way more than people think. A lot of Nikon shooters turn Auto ISO on, maybe set a max ISO, and call it a day. That's not finished. The part that really changes camera behavior is a minimum shutter speed. On Nikon Z bodies, you can tie that to auto, so the camera bases it on focal length, and that's the part a lot of people either ignore or misunderstand. If you're walking around with a 24 to 120, a 70 to 180, or any zoom where your focal length is changing constantly, that matters. The camera can raise shutter speed as the lens gets longer instead of hanging out at something way too slow and giving you a collection of technically artistic motion blur that you didn't ask for. Now, where people get this wrong is they either leave the minimum shutter too slow because they're trying to protect ISO at all costs, or they crank it absurdly fast and then wonder why the files look like they were shot on a potato at ISO 12,800. The goal is not lowest ISO. The goal is sharp photos. I usually want auto ISO doing the boring math for me, but I want that shutter threshold to reflect what I'm actually shooting. Static subject? Fine. Let it breathe a little. Kids, street, events, sports, anything with movement, I bias it faster. This is one of those settings that makes the camera feel smart when it's right and deeply untrustworthy when it's wrong. Second is the custom button setup, specifically F1, F2, and on bodies that give you a third customizable front control, FN3. This is one of those things that separates a camera that feels factory fresh from one that actually feels like your camera. Because in real shooting, speed matters less in theory than in friction. Every second you'd spend digging through menus is a second where the moment changes, the light changes, or your subject decides the photo shoot is over. So one of the first things I do is assign those function buttons to settings I need fast and often. And on my Nikon Z setup, that's very specific. I set function 1 to focus, function 2 to metering, and function 3 to subject detection if it's on a Z9. On bodies that don't give me that direct Z9 style option, I use that button to jump straight into the top item in my menu. And I keep subject detection sitting right there at the top. That setup works because these are all settings I actually need to reach without thinking. Focus is one of those things you need immediate control over in real shooting, especially when the subject, scene, or your intent changes faster than you want to dive into a menu. Metering matters for the same reason. Sometimes the default choice is fine, and sometimes switching the way the camera reads a scene changes everything. And subject detection is exactly the kind of thing you want quick access to because there is a big difference between having it available and being able to get to it before the moment is gone. What I like about this approach is that it keeps the front of the camera doing useful work. Your fingers are already there. You're not dropping your eye from the viewfinder. You're not digging through menus while the shot drifts away into another timeline. It makes the camera feel faster, but more importantly, it makes it feel intentional. It starts reacting like a tool you know instead of a menu system you're negotiating with. And that leads perfectly into the third setting, AF area mode customization, because this is where Nikon Z bodies really start behaving differently in real life. In the last autofocus video, I talked more about how these modes work, but here I want to keep it practical. You need a small number of AF area options you actually understand and can switch to quickly. Not 12 modes you technically own but emotionally don't trust. For precise work, especially when the subject is static or you need to tell the camera exactly what matters, smaller area modes make a lot of sense. For busier scenes, people moving unpredictably, or subjects that benefit from detection and a little room to breathe, wide area AF and 3D tracking can be far more useful. And this is the big mistake I see all the time. People leave the camera in one AF area mode and then judge the whole autofocus system based on that one choice. That's like testing a sci-fi spaceship and never taking it out of parking mode. The goal is not to memorize Nikon's entire autofocus philosophy at 3 in the morning. The goal is to set up 2 or 3 modes that fit your shooting and then assign them so switching is fast. If I'm shooting something controlled, I want precision. If I'm shooting movement, I want flexibility. If I need the camera to follow something through the frame, that's when 3D starts making more sense. The important thing is that AF area mode is not a spec sheet feature. It's behavior. Change it and the camera feels like a different camera. Now, right around here is where a lot of people realize the real problem is not that Nikon buried useful options, it's that the useful options you need today are rarely the ones surfaced by default. Which brings me to setting number 4, the I menu. This is gold, especially if you're newer to Nikon Z, but honestly, it's just as important if you've been shooting for years and you're tired of menu diving every time you change conditions. The I menu should be your field kit, not Nikon's guess at your personality. If there are settings you change regularly, they belong there. AF area mode, subject detection options, silent mode, image quality, focus mode, metering, whatever you actually touch while shooting, build it around your workflow, not around what looked balanced in a marketing meeting. The reason this matters is simple. A camera is faster when the decisions you need are one button away. And more important, it lowers friction. That matters because friction is where missed shots live. When the light changes, when a bird lands, when your kid makes the one expression you wanted all afternoon, you do not want to start splunking through pages of menus like you're searching for lost treasure in a Nikon dungeon. Customize the iMenu once, and the camera becomes dramatically easier to use. The fifth setting I change is Playback and Review. This one screams workflow more than it screams gear nerd. I want playback to tell me what happened, not just show me a pretty thumbnail. That means turning on playback display options I actually care about and making sure the highlight warnings are available. Blinkies are not there to ruin your self-esteem. They're there to stop you from blowing out important detail and finding out later when it's too late. A lot of photographers check the back screen, see something bright and punchy, and assume it's good. Sometimes it is. Sometimes the screen is lying to you with the confidence of a politician in election season. Highlight warnings give you a much better sense of whether the important bright areas are gone. And once you get used to reviewing images this way, especially for weddings, events, travel, or high contrast daylight scenes, it's very hard to go back. This is one of those small setup changes that make your whole workflow feel more intentional and a lot more professional. So if I had to boil this down, here's what I'm really changing on every Nikon Z camera. I'm making Auto ISO behave like a useful assistant instead of an unpredictable intern. I'm deciding what I'm going to program my function buttons because this solves a real problem for me instead of having what Nikon decided was best for me. I'm narrowing autofocus down to the area modes I actually trust in the field. I'm turning the iMenu into a real quick access tool, and I'm setting playback up to show me exposure truth, not just vibes. And that's really the bigger point. These aren't random menu tweaks. They change how the camera behaves in real life. They change how quickly you can react, how confidently you can shoot, and how often the camera does what you expected instead of something technically explainable but emotionally infuriating. And that's really the bigger takeaway. The right setup for landscapes is not always the right setup for portraits, wildlife, family, or travel. The camera should match your work, not the other way around. If you shoot Nikon Z, let me know which setting you change first on every body. And if you want the deeper setup logic behind all of this, especially how to tailor it to what you actually shoot, Bootcamp is where I really break this stuff down step by step. And I've also got a free PDF for you linked below called Set Your Nikon Z Up in 10 Minutes. It's a practical starter setup guide that walks you through things like building your iMenu, setting up My Menu, assigning your function buttons, and saving your setup to card. So instead of trying to remember everything later, you can just pull it up and get your camera dialed in a whole lot faster.